How are these two cards related to manifestation? You've probably tried at least one of the famous manifestation techniques, and most probably you've noticed that sometimes the technique works and sometimes it doesn't. Maybe some of the things are easier to manifest, some things you might be trying to manifest for years, but you repeat all the same steps, but you're just not getting the result. Or in some cases you might be receiving the manifestation and then losing it right away. So you might be feeling like, is there something missing about it? Was it even a manifestation, or maybe it was a coincidence, or did I really create it? Or you might be questioning all these things. That's why I've decided to record this video, because I'm getting questions about, do we really create this reality? Do we really manifest things? Can we really affect the construct? And yes, of course, we do manifest things. In fact, we do it all the time. We manifest this reality, we construct it all the time. That's what we do, that's how we create, and that's how we live. But the thing is, the mechanism of this manifestation is complex. And just one technique does not describe the whole mechanism. So today I'll give you a little bit more detail on that whole process. And for those who were asking about the cards from the tarot deck, these two major arcana are directly related to this topic. This would be the first arcana, the Magician, and number 15, Devil. How and why, I will explain all of it, and hopefully your next manifestation will come easier and will last longer. So this whole topic of manifestation has been introduced mainly by the book and film The Secret. And that's when majority of the population of the planet heard for the first time this whole idea that we can actually create things, we can actually manifest things, we can pull things into our reality. And the film or the book was mostly focusing on the idea that if you focus on something and if you keep your mode positive, you focus for long enough, you stay positive long enough, and you focus, you pull, this thing will sooner or later appear in your reality. That's the basic idea. So at that time, this idea was like mind-blowing, because for that period of time, that information was an absolute shift of consciousness. So the technique described in the book is correct, and the authors did a perfect job. I admire their work. And the thing about that book is that for that time, that information was maximum what humanity was able to handle at once. So more detail would be too heavy for the people to swallow. So only that part was given in order to just introduce people to that whole idea that it's even possible. So the authors of the book, they did great from the point of introducing people to this idea. But as time is coming, people are slowly evolving. Time is coming to get more and more detail into that whole technique and that mechanism that stands behind the manifestation. Now consciousness of the people on the planet ready for processing information of this whole thing. So the idea of focusing on an object and pulling it into your reality by your focus. So you want a red car, and you keep imagining it. You imagine yourself, you enjoy that process as if you're driving it. You feel it. You feel that feeling of joy and happiness, whatever pleasure of driving that dream car, and you imagine it in full detail with all that redness of its color. And by focusing on it stably, you guarantee that it will appear in your reality. That is true. That part is true. Now, let's go into the details. That idea is based on the principle which is described in the 15th Arcana, which is called Devil, which should not scare you. It is not like something dark, black, scary, or not some evil entity. It is a principle. It is a principle. It is basically a computer program. Both of these are computer programs, which are like the reality in which we exist currently consists of a number of programs. There's a set of programs, and all of them are running at the same time. And each program describes a principle, and the program, like a computer program, is written on the simplest language possible, with the logic of if then, using the programming language of ones and zeros. All of those programs are written that way. And if we talk about the tarot deck, we consider that the 22 major arcana represent 22 computer programs written in this logic: if then, if then, if then. So each program can be also called a principle which operates here, like as laws of physics, for example. That idea. So each one is a law, or each one is a program, or each one is a principle. Call it whatever you want. I hope you're getting the idea. So this card of the 15th Arcana is a principle of connection. Connection meaning things are like, of the idea of people things being related in the third dimension, in this physical world, as he's considered like the king of this world. Why? Because he represents the ruling principle of the third dimension. In third dimension, everything is related to everything. Everything is connected to everything. So that logic, that principle of connectivity or connection, call it whatever. So that's the principle. And here in this card, it's basically represented by the chain. You can find that card online to look more like in detail. But there's a chain by which these two people are connected to the stone. So the chain representing that, let's say, like a rope in which, like, imagine if I'm trying to create that red car, and the movie, The Secret, is telling me you need to focus on it, focus. If you focus well enough, properly enough, long enough, you will bring it into your reality by using this principle of connection. If I establish connection between me and that object, and I focus on it, by my focus I am like pulling like a rope. It's like if I would have like a hook on a rope, and I throw that hook and I grab that car and I start pulling it by that hook. I'm pulling. You can realize, but this is a basic physical law. If you do it in physical reality, it's also gonna work. Like, this law describes law of physical reality. It works. Take a hook, connect it to a rope, throw it, catch an object and pull. It's gonna come closer to you. As simple as that. That's the basic idea of the movie and the book The Secret. Just like in physical reality, it's so easy for you to understand this idea of a rope and a hook, but on energetic level and on mental level, it might be a little bit like harder to imagine. That's why the book and the authors of the book and the movie, they use that simplification, those metaphors, like to help you just focus on it, to do it properly. If they would just tell you throw a hook and pull the rope, probably that would not make any sense to you. So now I'm using that explanation, but I hope you're ready for this explanation now. So that's what you are doing, manifesting in that way. You focus. That focus works as creating connection between you and the object, and then your work, same as in a physical settings, you would have to apply a certain force, pull for a certain period of time, keep your work stable, and pull long enough for the object to come. Plus, important idea here is that depending on the weight of that object, you will need to apply a different amount of force to pull it closer. So if you're manifesting something like a feather into your life, for example, or like something simple, it would be much easier from the point that how much you just it will manifest maybe a few seconds later, right after you ask for it. But objects of bigger size might be heavier and harder to manifest if you don't have enough strength and like weight. If your weight is smaller than the weight of that red car, like it will be hard for you to pull. Same as in physical world. Get this idea that these principles, they don't describe something magical somewhere in some other worlds, realms, somewhere else. They describe physical laws of this reality in which we exist. These laws, they operate here all the time, and these programs are running all the time. And the idea about learning to manifest things in your life is to understand how do you switch into this or that program, like to realize at least under which program you are working right now, by which program you are trying to manifest things. And if you know the program well enough, you can understand, like, are you following the laws probably, and are you following all the principles, and if not, then what could be the consequences of that. This is the main idea that I want to bring to your attention about this specific principle of pulling things into your reality by focusing on them, using the principle of connecting, like connections, ropes. Like in physical reality, imagine if you want to pull in like a huge heavy object, like a huge rock. When you will need a lot of force to pull it. So first, you should have enough force to bring big objects. That's possible if you really want something. As a human, each one of us, just by the fact that you're human, it means you already have huge potential. Just like if you've managed to somehow incarnate in physical reality, it means like you do have huge potential available to you. But now, important thing here is to be able to use that potential stably. Are you able to stably maintain that strength? And this is why your manifestations might be sometimes coming in and flying out, disappearing. You might manifest a huge amount of money and then lose it right away, or manifest a beautiful relationship, lose it right away, like in that idea. You got it. Why? Because your strength, your potential was big enough to pull that thing into your life, but then you didn't know the rest of the principles. The rest of this program says that, like in physical, if we try to pull like a bucket with water out of well, for example, you understand that as long as you're pulling, like holding the control, as long as you're focused on it, you're applying force, you're pulling, it will be getting closer and closer and closer to you. But the moment you get tired of pulling, the moment you relax or release just a bit, the bucket will drop right back to zero level where it came from. That idea. So this is the little detail that you probably didn't consider when you try to pull things into your life. That if you don't consider your own weight and the weight of that big object, like if that weight of that car, for example, the value of that car is greater than your value, total value of who you are currently, and of how much right do you have in this life, like for how much goods do you have a right for in this physical reality. Potential is one thing, right for having things is different. These are two different things. So as a human you do have potential, but you might not have a right for that car. So that's what this beautiful principle is about. If you try to pull in an object heavier than your own weight, you will have to be pulling and holding it all the time, holding it, like not letting go, staying focused, staying fully grounded, staying fully and the moment that, as being a human, you won't be able to do it forever. There will be a moment when you get tired, when you relax just for a bit, just for a second. If you relax, well, you pull that beautiful car in your, or that woman or that man, that relationship, whatever, success, whatever, you pull it by force, then you have to hold it by force, and you have to be stronger than that object. You have to be heavier than that rock or that car or that person. Logic. I hope you're getting it. And if the weight of that object is larger than yours, or even equal, because you are connected by a rope, you were pulling, the moment you relax, now the rock is gonna pull. You pulled it, now the rock has the right to pull too, because you're connected. That's the whole principle of connectiveness, or whatever, the connection, is that if you connect to something, you pull, and that object also like if it pulls, you also, like, you pull, the object comes. If the object pulls, you go. That logic of connection. This is the little tricky part that was not like announced in the secret, because if it would be announced to you right away, you would be scared probably to manifest anything at all, to even try. That's why that knowledge was like kind of like cut out from presenting. Nobody did it on purpose, okay? Nobody was hiding it again from you on purpose. It was just too much for you to know at that point of time. So that part was given for you to try. Just start trying, get at least some belief, some trust in this whole process that you can do it. Then you will be ready to learn more details. For example, that heaviness of objects will determine will you be able to keep them in your life, or the moment you relax, they will snap out. That's the tricky part about for those who tried to manifest and lost things. You did not calculate your own weight properly before you started. So how do we do that? And like using this principle, like this is the principle that's basically, that's why people see this all this devil image as something bad, but in fact it's just a principle of like like if you're pulling on things that you don't deserve, things that you don't have right for, then devil has a right to come in, or he'll wait, he'll give you the things you want, and he will let you enjoy it, he will let you have the pleasure of having it. The moment when you have enough, the moment when you are so full of it and you relax, that's when he's gonna pull back. That he'll wait, he'll let you enjoy. The moment you relax, he has the right to pull back. That's what he does. And it's not because he's bad or like he wishes you bad. He's just a principle. He is just a program which follows a simple logic. If you don't have a right for this thing, you can enjoy it for a while and then it will be taken away from you. It's just a program, okay? He's not a bad guy. He's just following. He's been depicted like, but he's good. He's useful. He is following a principle, a program, again, on the computer, in computer language. These are just programs. And there is a difference between this program and this program. There are different principles used here. And if you want to keep manifesting things using this principle, you have to realize, you have to like go around the program, because if it says if the object is heavier than you, it will snap out of your reality. Again, you'll lose it. You'll get it, enjoy, and lose it. So if you want to manifest using this principle, you should go for things that are like clearly smaller than you. You should you should reach out for things like feathers, or like, I don't know, an example. But when you right away, you know, like if that thing pulls, like it's not gonna, or you're manifesting, for example, money, you should try to manifest, like if you want to be safe within this law, you should try to manifest things, money that is like not a tragedy for you to lose. Like an amount that if you lose, you will not even care much. So try manifesting those ones. And then you like kind of trick this program. You use the code for your own benefit. But if you try to like ignore the program, it's just a program. It's not good. It's not bad. It just works. It's a law. It just works. Whether you know about it or not, if you pull things that you are not ready for, you'll enjoy and lose. So the other law that I wanted to talk about today was the law that's described in the first major arcana, the Magician. And the Magician represents the principle of creating things. Also, like we're creating here all the time, but we are creating using different programs and different principles. So this program describes a process of manifestation from the state of absolute oneness. That's why the number signifies that the number of this arcana is 1. So that means when the moment when you reach, your consciousness reaches that level of oneness, total unity, total balance. If you can see, there is a table in front of him, and on the table there are 4 symbols of 4 elements, like earth, water, fire, and air. This represents, that part of the image represents that it is a consciousness which already obtained control of these 4 elements in himself, in the body, 4 elements in you, and thus 4 elements in the surrounding reality as well. How do you obtain control of your 4 elements? You have to know what those 4 elements are. You have to know yourself. This is the key. Why that phrase was so important, like know thyself. If like that principle, know thyself, it applies here and here. Here, if you don't know thyself, if you don't really know your true weight, and if your true capacity, if you don't know it, if you don't know yourself, you will reach for things that you don't have a right for. And then you will be hurt when those things snap out. All comes back down to the fact that you just didn't know yourself well enough. You thought of yourself a bit too high, maybe. You thought you deserved that $1 billion and you reached for it. Yeah, you'll get it. And then you'll have to lose it, and the devil will laugh and enjoy seeing you cry and hurt. Not because he is bad, but because you did not follow the principle. You thought of yourself too high. You ignored the law. So he's right to laugh at that point. Understand? Not because he's bad, he's a program again. So here, this program is talking about the same principle of knowing thyself. Here, you don't know, if you don't know yourself, you're in trouble. Here, this principle is much higher by rank, because this principle is available to everyone. anyone can use it. It's the easiest principle, the simplest. Just pull so easy. Even if you have no awareness of anything, just pull. Yeah, you'll suffer, you'll lose things, no problem. You'll get hurt, then you'll get up, you'll try again. And some people just end up living their whole life in this pulling, losing, crying, pulling again, losing, crying, and so on, forever in that loop. And that's why the life seems like dark and evil to them. But this is available to everyone who is incarnated in 3D. And this principle is much higher of a rank, available to the consciousness who is already aware of himself, itself, whatever, herself, and knowing who I am, knowing what I consist of, knowing what I have a right for, knowing what I deserve, knowing what I want, like all of those principles, they're all included here. Those 4 elements on the table, they represent the 4 elements. They represent what I am, what I feel, what I want, what I think, like a cross. This symbol of this arcana is a cross on each end of which there is an element: earth, water, fire, and air. And you, as consciousness, balanced, are supposed to be at the very center of this cross. That's the symbology of a cross originally, like before it got used and abused. Cross as being like knowing who you are, what you want, what you feel, what you think, when all those 4 are one. When all those 4 are so balanced that you hold all of them, like there's no imbalance in either way. All 4 of these. I know the same thing that I want, I feel, I am. And this is the recipe for the magic of the magician. He knows. He knows. This is the key word of manifesting through this arcana compared to this arcana, is this manifestation happens by knowing. And there are only a few people in this current physical reality as we see it now who are able to use this arcana to its full potential. And that would be called like miracles in normal, like those miracles that they write about in the sacred books and stuff. They're based on knowing. When you're so centered, when you know yourself so well, you're not in any illusion about yourself or about reality or about, you know yourself, you know what this place is, you know what you consist of, you know what you want, you know what you have a right for, you know how to get it, you know how to will, you know how to manifest, basically. So this card is manifestation on the level of Sophia consciousness. Consciousness of Sophia is the mother program of all, knowing all. It's like one, represents that one, that oneness, that creative force. And like this Sophia consciousness is not something that you've never heard about. If you've listened to even basically, what's on my mind? Abraham Hicks, for example. Esther Hicks, just beautiful, amazing. She is channeling Sophia consciousness. The logic that she is presenting, it might seem so simple to some people. They're like, she's teaching such simple things. No, I want something more complicated. Some of my students say that. They want, no, it's simple. No, it's like, I want something more complicated. But she is channeling the logic of Sophia in the pure form. And that's a very high frequency, and not everyone is able to receive it, actually. But she is presenting this principle that in order to have something, you must be it. There are other channelers who are also using, like, talking about that principle, but Esther Hicks is my favorite. I like hers. So she represents this symbol, and like again, this when we go back to this male, female, all these labels, Sophia is meant like used as like a female name, but this magician is a male arcana. So don't be confused by all these things. These are just symbols to represent the idea. And the idea is that this is a program described for future generations to be able to use. And I'll probably be making other videos on the details of the symbology of each card. It's not the purpose of this video. In this one, I wanted to specifically talk about this difference of creating from pooling. Then if you do it, go ahead. Then if you're not afraid to suffer by losing, suffer sometimes a little bit, then you enjoy a little bit, then you suffer, enjoy. That's going to be forever a wave. It's going to be losing, it will gaining, losing, gaining, losing, gaining, losing, and some people enjoy this roller coaster. So who am I to stop them? And if you want to manifest in a more like light and bright and peaceful state, then you have to first understand who you are and what this world is truly, and that requires quite a lot of mental work. And I suggest that you start from studying the elements, because that's his main attributes that he operates with. And once you understand the elements, at least the cross of these 4 elements, the cross of the element, when you understand the symbology of the cross, you learn how to deal with each of 4 elements, how to balance them all, how to own them all. By owning the 4 elements, you will own this body, which consists of 4 elements. Until you own the elements in your body, you don't own the body yet. So, to become a magician, you have to understand the elements, integrate them, own them, and learn to use them for creating things from these elements, because the creation also, you're going to create objects from those 4 elements. And in order to do that, you have to understand the center of this cross, what that symbology represents, the center of that cross, what is it? Learn to stay in that center, and in that center all 4 gather. From that center you will this stick to become a snake. That's one of the miracles that is described. How it happened? By willing. That would be somebody of this level can create a miracle like that, to turn sticks into snakes, by knowing that that is a snake. Understand? Like that. That's what Abraham Hicks is talking about, but in soft version. Just look at that stick and just know that it is snake. It's like everybody looks at it and says like, that is like, it's obviously like a physical 3D stick. It is not a snake, clearly. But a magician has a will to clearly know what this object must be. Like he decides it's a snake. And by his will, he wills with his pole that he's holding, he wills the stick to become a snake. By simply knowing that this is a snake. That's what makes the magic of the magician. But that's a level, and there are steps to reach that level. But I hope this video at least gave you some little insight into this whole idea of how these arcana work and how they're all related to constructing our reality. So I hope you all will become magicians one day. I hope you enjoyed the video. See you again later.